Hi everybody. In this video I'm going to go through the course directives or the syllabus for the class. I'm going to ask you to annotate as you are watching the video. Annotate. That means underline, highlight, circle, write questions, whatever. So when you come to class next time, your syllabus should be marked up. So let me go ahead and get started. I'm doing it on the video because honestly, I think everyone knows that this is not the most exciting thing, and this way, just watch a video and you're done with it. So this class is an algebra-based course in general physics. This course has been designed to align with the first semester algebra-based college physics course and the College Board curriculum. So this class is like if you were going to take a first semester college physics class, and it is algebra based. So the fact that it's algebra based means that if you have taken algebra 2, you are qualified for the course. If you have not taken algebra 2 yet, it might be very difficult for you. However, if you are in calculus or above, there is an AP Physics C test that you can take. The material covers the exact same material that we cover. It's just that it's calc-based rather than algebra-based. And so as we go along, if you are interested in getting some calc-based problems, sample problems, I can probably find some of those for you. Okay, what do we cover? We talked about this the other day. These are the subjects that we cover in this course. This is mostly, what I mentioned the other day, is mechanics. They've cut out anything dealing with electricity or magnetism. It's just mechanics. So that's what's covered. And that's what's covered on that AP Mechanics C test I was talking about a second ago. The class is organized around 6 big ideas that bring together the fundamental science principles and theories of general physics. The students, you, will participate in inquiry-based explorations of these topics to gain a more conceptual understanding of these physics concepts. An emphasis will focus on developing critical thinking and reasoning skills beyond traditional formula-based learning. So this is what I mean by this. I am not going to just spoon feed you information. I'm going to ask you questions and make you think about things. This class, for a lot of people, isn't easy because it's the first time that they've thought about some of these things. But once you kind of get into the swing of it, it's not as difficult as people make it sound. My goal is to help you to think on your own, to practice critical thinking and critical reasoning. And we're going to do inquiry-based explorations. In other words, some classes have what I call recipe labs, that they give you a recipe and you do a lab and you're done. In this class, our labs will not be like that. They'll be inquiry-based. That is, I might just propose an open question of, how could we measure this? How could we find this? And then we are going to come up with, well, how could we do that? Okay, the big ideas for the course are listed here. Objects and systems have properties such as mass and charge. Systems may have internal structure. Fields existing in space can be used to explain interactions. That means things like gravitation, electrical fields, magnetic fields, things like that. The interactions of an object with other objects can be described by forces, and those could be contact forces like a push or a pull, but they could also be non-contact forces like gravity or magnetism or electrical fields, things like that, electrical forces. So all of that is included, but again, we are not covering magnetism or electricity in this class. Number 4, interactions between systems can result in changes in those systems. So you have 2 systems and they collide, things might change. Changes that occur as a result of interactions are constrained by conservation laws. So we have conservation of energy, we have conservation of momentum. Those are both very large concepts in this class. Waves, number 6, waves can transfer energy and momentum from one location to another. This concept actually, they've cut out. We don't do waves in this class anymore, so I think this last big idea isn't really pertinent to our class anymore. Now, what you all are concerned about is grades, so let's take a second to talk about grades. In this class, classwork is 10%, lab reports are 20%, and tests and quizzes are 70%. So you can see tests and quizzes are worth a lot more than classwork. So that has a couple of implications. For one, we have a lot more classwork, and yet it's worth less. For another, though, that classwork it just isn't, it doesn't count as much. So I'll talk about that along probably when we get to this section of daily assignments. But final exams are 20% of your overall grade each semester. If you take the AP exam, you do not have to take the final exam at the end of the year, but you do have to take the semester final. What I was trying to get at here, well, I'll get to it along the way. Classroom expectations. I expect you to treat materials, classmates, and me with respect. So what do I mean by that? Well, materials, for instance, we used to use a slinky for some of the waves that we did. Please don't mess up the slinky so bad that it's not usable anymore. That is not respecting the materials. Classmates. Please respect your classmates. They have different viewpoints than you do. All of us have different viewpoints, and we need to respect that. And me, I might have different viewpoints than you as well, but I also have a little bit more experience than you do, and I probably have a little bit more knowledge than you do as well. I'm sure there's a lot of ways that you are much smarter than I am, and there's some ways that I have more information than you do. But we're going to treat each other with respect and be willing to learn from each other, and I want you to be a strong participant in your learning. So you are the one driving your learning. You need to come to class prepared. You need to ask questions, you need to participate, you need to do your own work, be on time, and in labs, clean up your messes. So I mentioned slinkies a minute ago. Well, that's one, but a lot of times we'll have several different items that we're using in a lab. I'm expecting you to clean up after yourself and put those away. And we will talk about this first bit about respecting people in discussions. I have some information that we'll talk about that in class in a day or two. Okay, daily assignments and tests and quizzes. This is what I was talking about a second ago. 1, do not get behind. This is a college level AP class. You need to be prepared for the load, and there is a load. We will have in-class assignments and homework most days. I might not collect every single assignment, but you are expected to learn the material, and the assignments that I provide will help you to learn. So you're not going to maybe have time to do every single assignment because you're writing an essay for AP Gov, whatever. That's okay, but you are expected to do the learning along the way. So maybe you haven't, you didn't do every single problem, but you did learn the material. Also, I will not collect every single assignment, and my philosophy is changing on this. I used to collect every single assignment. If you watch a video, I collect it. If you did a problem set, I collect it. If you do a worksheet, whatever. So now I'm leaning more towards we do some of them, and maybe I collect them, maybe I don't, but what I really want to know is, did you learn anything? And so that's what we'll be focusing on, is your learning. Tests and quizzes. Tests and quizzes, questions. Okay, so another change is before the pandemic, I used to just give 1 unit test, and that was it. Now last year, I started giving a lot more quizzes, so we would have 2 or 3 quizzes in each unit, and I'm probably going to kind of do a mixture of that this year. Though we will have some quizzes, we will have some tests. And those questions will be from AP testing materials. And since this is an AP class, these questions will help prepare you for the level of question that appears on the AP test. These questions are more difficult than standard high school level questions, so I will be applying a curve to test grades. And we talked about this a little bit the other day. This is the formula that I use, and basically what it does is if you get a 50%, that actually ends up being an 80%. If you get 100%, that ends up being 102%. So this is the curve that I will use. And those quizzes are in the 70% category. So that's where most of your grades, your points are going to come from. The way you change your grade, whether up or down, is by the tests and quizzes. On the back, academic dishonesty. If you're engaging in cheating or plagiarism, you'll get a 0 for the work, whether that's a homework assignment, quiz, or test. First of all, homework, please don't even bother to cheat on homework. It's kind of silly because you're sitting there scribbling down someone else's work, you don't know what you're doing, and you're not actually doing the learning. I remember a minute ago I said, I'm really wanting to know, did you learn? So just scribbling down someone else's homework does not really help you learn. Quizzes and tests, though, if you are cheating on these quizzes or tests, and this will be both people, whether you're giving information or getting information, you will get a 0 for that quiz or test. The administration will be I will let them know, and I'll let your parents know. And finally, if you're not sure whether it's cheating or not, it probably is. Absences. We are still in the middle of a pandemic, so some of us might be quarantined from time to time. When that happens, you might be too sick to do things. Or maybe you're just sitting at home because you're quarantined. You're not actually sick or you're not actually symptomatic. So please make sure to get work taken care of promptly, because we will have a lot of work and you do need to stay on top of your work. But if you're too sick to do it, then you're too sick to do it, and you and I can work something out. Check Canvas if you can, and stay on top of work as much as possible before returning to class. Now, I realize sometimes that's not possible. In case of a long-term absence, I will work with you to help you decide what work is most essential for your learning. In other words, I'm not going to tell you you have to do everything. I might say, hey, why don't you just watch this one video and do this one assignment and add these problem sets. I'm not going to make you do everything that you missed if you were gone. If you have missed a test during your absence, please work with me to try to get it taken care of promptly. What's going to happen if you don't is it's going to snowball, and now you're getting more stuff, and it just is going to add to your stress. So let's try to get that taken care of as quickly as possible. Lab safety in this class, honestly, this is not a big deal. We don't really have labs that you could hurt yourself on. We don't have chemicals, that kind of thing, so we don't really need goggles or anything like that. The only thing is you just need to use a little bit of common sense. So for instance, if we are, doing a projectile lab where you roll a marble off a table, well, make sure you don't hit someone on the foot when you do that. If we're doing a circular motion lab, I mentioned that pig that's spinning around the ceiling, just don't get hit by the pig. A lot of it's just common sense like that. But I might have to warn you on certain things, because back to slinkies again, sometimes when people are messing with things like slinkies, they don't realize you let go of it and all the energy goes to the other person, and it can really hurt. So we'll discuss that as the labs come up, but there really isn't a huge amount of lab safety that we need to talk about. Okay, finally, before you go, I want you to write down at least one question that you have about this class. It could be about grades, it could be about topics, it could be about AP tests, whatever, anything. So write down at least one question. So when you come back to class, this paper should be marked up, highlighted, underlined, stars, circles, whatever, and you should have at least one question written down. When you come to class, we will discuss those questions, we'll discuss your highlights, and we will take a quiz, like a Kahoot quiz, towards the end of the week. Okay, see you later.